Welcome. This is the launch of the Plan for Growth. I'm Gary Woodman, Chief Executive of the Worcestershire Local Enterprise Partnership, and it's with great pleasure that we launch the strategy today. I've got Mark, the Chair, with me, and Luke, as Director of Operations, who I have to say put in a ton of work with the team to make this strategy a reality. So we know we've got the vision, the connected, creative, dynamic economy for 2040. Why is that vision important, Mark?
I think, we've seen, particularly over the last year, just how important it is. We're almost at the forefront and leading on this one because coming out of COVID, the importance of having a connected economy, both physically and digitally, is just so fundamentally important. They go hand in hand. We know they both drive productivity, anywhere between 3 to 5%, and we've proven that through some of the trials we did on the connectivity agenda. So having a connected economy is important. It's important to drive growth. It drives creativity. We want businesses coming into this county that are going to actually bring, high salaries in, that actually help the businesses actually grow and develop as well as they move forward. So I think we're bang on with the strategy. So much has been delivered with the strategy we've had so far. This is all about now an evolution of the strategy to the next stage. So I'm really, really excited about it, and I think let's keep on building, let's keep on delivering the numbers to the benefit of everybody within the county. And I'd like to say, the work that's been done by the team has just been outstanding. And, I look at Luke, and it's been an awful lot of work. He's looking older because of it. But it has been a great piece, and it's all about execution and delivery.
And Luke, so the strategy for you, because clearly we're looking to 2040, but the impact of an economic shock like COVID, how did those two sort of play together, really?
Yeah, I think Mark makes the point, really, that it's a timely opportunity to refresh the strategy. We've had real success with the one that we've had to date, but the world's moved on since 2014 when we launched the last one. I think it's important to emphasise that it is a partnership strategy for the county. Businesses have bought into this, our partners, stakeholders have bought into this. And so having that kind of consensus around what the priorities are moving forward just gives a bit of a framework for partners to coalesce around the priorities moving forward. So a lot of exciting stuff in there, looking right across innovation, infrastructure, what's required for the new business environment in terms of inward investment and kind of soft landing packages, but also tailoring it to local places. We know that different parts of the county have different strengths and challenges, and I think that's reflected in the strategy document that we've got.
Okay, and give us a feel for what sits behind it, whether it's the evidence base or perhaps the partners. Give us a feel for their contribution.
What it's built on is a robust evidence base. So we've looked at how does what makes the Worcestershire economy tick. So we've looked at Office for National Statistics and kind of looking at how the Worcestershire economy is performing, be that in terms of productivity. How Worcestershire's businesses are successful at the moment, where there are challenges. How does the infrastructure work at the moment, both from a digital perspective in terms of broadband coverage that we've got in the county, how congested are some of our kind of key routes in the county, and looks at all of those things and says, we've got some strengths in some of these areas and we can build on that, but also there are quite a few challenges as well, and this is where we would probably prioritise that investment. So it starts to give a framework really about some of those priorities, and what it tries to do is identify a kind of a pipeline of projects that would be investment ready really, be that kind of for public sector investment or private sector. Because one of the big successes that we've had to date so far is having that kind of clarity of purpose right across the partnership, that partners kind of buy into, these are almost the shopping list of economic priorities in Worcestershire, that has then enabled investment to come in. And we've seen a lot of public sector investment come in, but off the back of that leverage significant amounts of private sector investment that's given us a lot of key assets across the county.
I was going to say, actually, on what Luke is saying there, it actually is so important because the beauty about this plan, and the one we've actually, we've been operating for a number of years now, it's about a joined-up plan that goes across the county. And that's so important. And what that means is everybody buys into it, all the stakeholders are bought into it. So you have a single Worcestershire plan that reflects the different areas, but it is a Worcestershire plan, one plan that we operate. And I think the important thing for that is then it's all about, it only works if it all works. You can't have parts of the economy working and others not. So we've tried to actually look at it in totality. And I think it gives people a story to believe in. So, it's great. Now it's all about execution, making it happen, and that's the interesting bit and the challenging bit. So, let's move on.
And obviously, you sort of mentioned the partners from local government, the university, FE. But what does it mean if you're a resident? Do you think a resident should read this plan?
Absolutely. This is very much, it's got to be that everybody wins out of this. It's not just about the businesses. It's not just about the economy. The economy is about the people who live here. So they should see benefits in their lives, how they actually, catching the buses, how they're catching the trains. I've always used the example of the success to me has been, my made-up name of Brenda on the 1439 bus and catching and saying, this is a great place to live and work. And we want people to feel and to believe and see the benefits of living in Worcestershire, because it's a great county. We know that, and what we're trying to do is to lift it up so its voice is stronger. It is a great place to live and work, to bring up your children. We don't want our children moving to London. We want the economy to be a place they can actually find great jobs and actually stay. So very much so about people should see the benefits, and I believe they do.
Yeah.
And just on that point, if I could just say, I think for the young people as well, understanding what the careers pathways we've got in Worcestershire, creating the future industries in the county as well. So young people, people at all ages in the labour market, to be fair, having opportunities to kind of reskill and upskill, in terms of what they do at the moment, and seeing Worcestershire as a prosperous place to kind of carve out a career and earn a good living.
And even more so, as we come out of COVID, we've seen people changing their lives. They're not doing the commute, so it's very much about where they are.
Yeah.
But more than that is, there's a great book, I can't remember who actually wrote it now, but they're saying that you're going to have maybe 4 or 5 careers through your lifetime, and we want people to be able to reskill, to actually, as they go through things.
And that forward look is in the strategy. Obviously digital, 5G, the test bed is where we focus, but sustainability, climate change starts to come into this one in a greater way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we touched on it earlier that previous strategy has served its purpose, but the world has changed. We've obviously coming out the end of a massive pandemic. We've got the kind of government's levelling up agenda that's going on. The net zero or drive towards net zero is kind of very in the public consciousness at the moment, and that kind of net zero kind of approach is reflected by the LEP board and partners, really. So there's a lot of work that's going on at the moment to try and be more sustainable. We've got a great deal of businesses in Worcestershire that have got real expertise and knowledge in this area, and have got a real appetite to be more environmentally conscious and kind of more sustainable for the future.
Okay, so when we were looking at the strategic economic plan, there were a number of successes in there. What were the successes for you, Mark, in terms of what we delivered in the last strategy, but also where we're going with the plan for growth?
Overarching, I was so pleased it was a joined up plan. So it only works if it all works. And so that was the big thing for me. Individual ones, as you know, my love of the digital economy and everything like that, I thought we did an amazing job on that. If you think about it, Worcestershire, we're at the forefront of the 5G drive. And that is a huge achievement with the trials we did with Bosch, and looking at how we drive productivity. And some of the results we got lifted not only the results and what we learned coming out of it, but also as well the reputation of Worcestershire. We were up there, with some of the big academic institutions and driving that and being talked about. And it's the only one of the test beds that actually drove clear financial productivity benefits, which is an astounding achievement. Yeah. And of course now we're also doing the West Mercia 5G programme, looking at the rural agenda, because it shouldn't be just about the urban environment, and it should be about how can you live in a fantastic, beautiful place and still drive the economy forward.
Yeah.
And that one as well is also looking after people. So we're doing the health trials there. And I think that's exciting, and we're getting a lot of interest being shown on that. Interest in doing the trials, great, but now it's about how do we drive broadband out, because that's one of the big things. 2 things that people get chased about are mobile coverage and broadband coverage. If you say to my daughter about Wi-Fi, she thinks it's a human right. It's not something you should be paying for. So we need to make sure we extend out. How do we do that? We do that by making sure that we're easy to do business with, and we help people actually come and invest. Because many of these operators are looking for people who want to actually drive it forward. So it's looking at planning rules. It's looking at how we actually help them actually do things. So I think we've got a big agenda forward. We're going to push it hard, and it will be to the benefit. I come back to, we were ahead of our time. Sadly, with the pandemic, it had massive consequences, but I think we can seize upon that with the strategy we're driving that connectivity agenda, and that will be part of the levelling up agenda as well. So those are my big ones.
Luke?
I'll probably stick with the connected theme, but I'll kind of look more towards transport. I think some big assets that have been delivered or improved in the county over the last kind of 10 years or so. I think if you look at rail, the Worcestershire Parkway station being brought to reality and launching back in 2020 is a big one. I think making Worcestershire more connected to other parts of the UK is important for our businesses. Clearly, businesses done outside of Worcestershire, and so being able to connect and get to other economic centres is key. Likewise, Kidderminster Rail Station had some massive improvements. I mean, one of the busiest rail stations that we've got in the county, and yet some of the facilities weren't as good as they could have been. So bringing that more into the 21st century has been money well spent, I think. But it's not just about having good rail stations. We obviously need the services running through there and the train stopping at those. So I think that's the next focus, and that's where this plan for growth really looks at, is lobbying for better services, making sure that we can ensure that those services are running through and connecting us up better. And we're working with partners on things like the North Cotswold line to improve access to places like Oxford and London, and also enabling people to access Worcestershire as well from these places as well. So I think that's the focus moving forward.
I think Luke raises a really good point, actually, that we're not an island, and it is about making sure that we're part of the wider regional economy. We work closely with the Midlands Engine. We're very much participative in that. It's a massive market. It's a fantastic landing strip for us. We want to play a part in that. To do that, though, we've got to have the connectivity links into those areas as well. The North Cotswold line, as Luke is saying, critical. Yeah. And that one will make us more accessible to people travelling out of London, but not just there, it's to Oxford as well, and all the way along that. So we collaborate and we work well with lots of parties, and we will continue to do so because it's about the wider good as well.
Yeah, for me, we've done a really good piece of work on schools and business and that relationship, every school participating in their careers. The work that we've done that has been fantastic around bringing the business community into our schools has been excellent, because this strategy is about people as well. And we know that our young people are the future of this county, so retaining and showing them career paths has been really key. But we know we've got loads more to do, whether it's the Worcestershire Growth Hub, or the skills for Worcestershire site, apprenticeships, lots of employers. We know we've got an ageing workforce, and those challenges that we're seeing at the moment where we've got skill shortages in many areas. I think how we fix those over the next 10, 20 years is a real challenge, and a challenge that this strategy puts at the heart.
I think, as your point there, as we've said that we've driven a lot of success, but not arrogant about it. We know there's much, much more to do. One of the big things for me on the strategy and in the execution, it's about adoption. So we put these enablers in place that help people. But as you said, Gary, it's about the skills agenda. How do we actually get the right skills and enable the businesses to have that workforce there, that they can drive the productivity, the economy forward, that the residents better because they have higher salary levels. We've always said that we want to be in a position where, that we're pushing hard to actually move up that salary level for the people in the county. So there's a lot to do, but adoption is a big one for me.
Yeah, and I think we've seen many of our partners come with us, so whether it's Heart of Worcestershire College and the Duckworth Centre and the investments they're making in Redditch, or equally the university literally this last month announced the new med school for the three counties. So you can see our partners are coming with us and helping to deliver the plan for growth as it moves forward as well. Thank you both for the good discussion on our launch for the plan for growth. I'm really pleased to do that today, and the plan for 2040. I'd like to thank everybody and our partners for their contribution to get us to this point. We know that it has to work for everybody, and we know that the strategy only works if it all works. Really important that the business community get behind this and that their business voice comes together to make sure that we execute this strategy, and that's really where the focus of the LEP team and our partners will be as we look forward. So we really want to create the future value for the county, and therefore if you've got any questions or want to see more about the strategy, come to our website www.wlep.co.uk. Thank you.